we've done at Soma is we've gone back to the philosophies that started the whole professional hair care industry. Back in the 60s and the 70s, a lot of stylists understood that the products they were recommending to their clients were causing damage when that client went home. So what they did was they went out and they contracted chemists to develop product lines to protect their work.
I guess I'm influenced by commercials on TV.
I mean, I will ask, like, you know, a sales associate, what's the difference between the two, and then they'll explain to me. So I depend on them to educate me on that kind of stuff.
I usually just come to Sophia and ask her which ones to use.
I think as a stylist, when you're recommending products, you must be sure that your products are going to support your work, because if you don't, what's going to happen is when the client takes a product home and anything happens inadvertently to your style, you're going to take the blame for it. Every salon has had a client come in for a color correction. We wonder what took place between the time when they left that last salon they were at to the time that they got to that location. What probably took place is they went home, that color faded out, they blamed their stylist, and they never went back. We've all had clients come into salons and you do a great job, a great color on their hair, and then what happens is when they leave, who knows what takes place when they get to their house. Just because a product line says color safe on the bottle, does that make it color safe? We truly need to have a better understanding, because stylists are on the front line of getting blamed for anything that inadvertently happens to the hair. Manufacturers in our marketplace now are completely absolved of any responsibility. We want to bring that responsibility back to the forefront.
I've heard of pH, but I haven't taken into consideration to know what it is.
I don't know what that stands for. I never really... Do you know what it stands for?
It stands for potential hydrogen?
pH balance? No.
The higher on the scale it is, the better it is for you. The lower it is, the more acidic it is, so it's not good at all for your hair.
pH is a term that I throw around a lot of times, and people look at me and they have an understanding of it to a certain degree, but let's be honest. You didn't wake up this morning and think, wow, pH. Let's think about pH. And how often does a client come walking in a salon, open up the door and go, let's talk about pH? It just doesn't happen. But if you go back into hairdressing school, it's some of the things that they're taught in the very first 2 weeks of school is pH, keratin protein, because that's what your hair is, and alcohol-free products. So what we need to do is we need to correlate that. What I want to do is I want to tie it into temperature, and the way I'm going to do that is if I had an ice cube and it was pre-weighed, pre-measured, and was vacuum sealed in plastic, and I gave it to you and I said, you know, in a year's time I'm going to come back, and if that ice cube hasn't changed, I'm going to give you $10,000. You'd probably take it home and throw it right in your freezer, and any time somebody opened up that freezer door, you'd be yelling at them, close it, there's $10,000 sitting in that freezer. And you know that if you took that ice cube out and put it on your counter for 1 minute every single day over the course of a year, it would probably melt a little bit and then refreeze, but it would change. Similar with hair. We just expect hair color to fade. It's just assumed now. We should get away from that. We should understand that color can stay in our hair for a lot longer time period. A perm can stay in our hair for a lot longer time period, as well as a relaxed head of hair can stay straight a lot longer. But it's understanding pH. I mean, any textbook, you open up any hairstyling textbook, it'll say the pH of hair is 4.5 to 5.5. What that means is the structure itself, the keratin protein which your hair is, the structure itself is strong at a pH of 4.5 to 5.5. When we do a chemical service in a salon, a chemical service is such an ambiguous term. What it truly means is we're going to be doing a pH adjustment. When you do a perm, you can buy alkaline perms and you can buy acid perms. Acid perm has a pH of about 6.7 to 7.7. Alkaline perms in around 8, 8.5. So what we want to do now is understand that what happens when we use these perm solutions. We roll the hair in a perm rod, put the perm solution on the hair. What that does is it just raises the pH of the hair above 5.5. As soon as the hair goes above 5.5, all those little bonds in the hair start to break. We leave the perm solution on for 20 minutes, rinse it out. What do you put on next? A neutralizer. It's a pH term. It's something stylists use all the time, but they truly don't understand it. What that means is it's bringing the pH back down. When the pH hits 5.5 again, it's like relocking those bonds. Sort of like putting that ice cube in the freezer. You're locking it in.
Yeah, it'll fade if you don't use the right shampoo and conditioner.
I don't believe in that stuff when they say, oh, color protectant or stuff like that. I don't.
If I had a lot of brown, I'd get it for brunettes. And that helps prevent fading, but with red, you're guaranteed that you're going to fade at least a little bit.
If I had someone to explain to me why a shampoo would be color protectant and the ingredients in it, then maybe I would start buying that kind of stuff.
Hair color is held inside the hair. What we need to do is chemically open up the hair. We all talk about these things, lift and permanent colors and semi-permanent colors, but we truly understand is that we're opening up or ripping apart the hair, and the way we do that is by manipulating the pH again. So what we have to understand is all our chemical service play directly on pH. So why, when we're sending our clients home, are we not worried about it? A product says color safe. Does that mean that it is? Most products, when we compound them, they're alkaline. We have to bring the pH down. Once again, this is very timely and costly. But understanding that the pH of the product is 4.5 to 5.5, think about it. Your client walks home, they put the product on their hair, and let's say it says color safe on the label. The client takes it home, let's say it's alkaline, has a pH of about 7. That's even higher than some acid perms. They put that on their hair. What happens to the pH of their hair? Goes up. Bonds break. Color goes down the drain. Who takes the blame for it? It's not going to be the product because it says color safe on the label. They're going to blame that stylist who did their hair color. They're going to say, I spent a lot of money on this product. It says color safe on the label. It must have been that stylist. So what happens is stylists are taking the blame for a lot of things that aren't their fault. But truly understanding that pH is the building block of a professional product, and knowing when you do recommend a product that the pH should be stipulated on the bottle. A lot of companies use a fancy term called pH balanced. Now, if I was to say to you, look, I'm going to take you all on a holiday somewhere, and we're going to go to a place where it's temperature balanced, you think about it for a while, and you go, great, we're going on holiday, but then you go, well, what does he mean by temperature balanced? You think I'm crazy. Same thing. pH balance is a fancy term that a lot of companies came up with just to give you smoke and mirrors over their product. They say it's pH balanced. Balanced to what? 9, 10, 8? So it's very important that the number is stipulated on the product. That's the only way you can truly know that a product is color safe. For those people who were in and around the time when professional products came into the marketplace, let's say in the 80s, you know, there was actually sales reps that would go into salons and they would test the pH of your products for you. Not only that, the pH was stipulated on every single product. There wasn't even a product for color-treated hair because every product was color safe because the pH was clearly stipulated on the product. That in itself makes a product truly professional.
From what I remember, protein, same stuff that your nails is made out of.
It's all dead though, right?
Yeah, all dead stuff.
What is hair? That's a good question.
I've never thought of that one. Like, I mean, what is it made out of? I don't know.
What we need to do now is understand how do we fix hair. More importantly, what is hair? You ask the average stylist what hair is, they don't have an answer for you any longer. They were taught in hairdressing school, but it's not a key point of interest any longer. We truly need to understand that hair is keratin protein. We fix hair with hair. What I mean by that is, just to give you a reference, is if you had a big piece of skin missing and they rushed you to the hospital and they couldn't stitch it up, they would give you a skin graft. Everybody knows that. Well, our hair is very similar in the sense that when we're losing protein out of our hair, we're losing keratin protein. We need to replace that. Think about this. If you went into a room and you removed the wallpaper off a wall and had all sorts of cracks on it and potholes on it, you wouldn't look at the wallpaper and go, damn, look what that wallpaper did. You'd go, wow, we need to fix this wall. Similarly, if you're using products that are just coating your hair, and then one day you go and you grab a protein-based product, you're going to shampoo your hair and you're going to look at your hair and go, oh my goodness, look what that shampoo did to my hair. No, we're just revealing what your hair looks like. Now we truly need to fix it. Understand this, that a lot of those quick fix products are actually the products that are causing your damage. The only way you truly know that your product is going to fix your hair is if it truly has keratin protein in it. You have to look at your labels. If it has keratin protein on the label, you know that that product will permanently condition your hair. It's important to look for that ingredient. That's how we fix.